Well, before we get too overly involved, let's cover an interesting topic about mistakes that people make in a divorce. These could be typical common mistakes. Number one, oversharing information. Remember one thing, okay? You've got a duty to disclose financial information, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have a duty to disclose frailties in your position unless you're asked. Now, you can't lie to representatives of the court or the court. You cannot lie under oath. But remember one thing, lawyers, if nothing else, are professional question askers, okay? So that means if they want to know something, they're going to ask you. Now, if you are of the opinion that a property is worth $50,000, but you love it so much you'd be willing to pay $100, you're not obligated to tell that lawyer, I'd be willing to pay $100. If they want to know it's worth this amount, but does it have sentimental value to you? For some reason, is it worth more to you than a standard person? Is it the fact that your brother lives at the house next door, so therefore it means more to you to be there than it would mean on the open marketplace? These are the kind of things you don't have to share that information. If you're asked under oath, you have a duty to tell the truth. But oversharing information that you're not obligated to share could be a big mistake. Another mistake that people often make, especially in a divorce with high asset, wealthy clients, is ignoring the tax implications. Somebody may say, well, I want this, I want that, or I want you to liquidate this property or liquidate this stock or this or that, without taking into account the fact that there may be gains that have to be paid on this. If it's a property, for example, and it's not a primary residence, you're going to liquidate it, you may have to recapture depreciation and other gains on the property. It may be subject to a 1031 exchange, and now if you do it this way, it won't be, and now there's going to be a big tax bill. Keeping in mind what the taxes are is important, and ignoring the taxes could be a huge mistake. So you got to watch that. Undervaluing assets is a big mistake also, or said a different way, rushing the settlement. Let's say you want to rush the settlement because you're not really going to appraise. You don't want to appraise it. You don't take the time to appraise the property. What do you want to do? You just want to get it done. Do you know how many times I've had clients come in and say, I don't care. I just want it done. Just want it done. You know what that is? It's a recipe for a crappy settlement is what it is, because just want it done is your way of telling your lawyer, I don't want you to spend the time being careful. Well, you know what happens when you don't spend the time being careful? Careless things happen. That's what happens. You rush to a settlement, you skip legal advice, and you know what? You make the fundamental mistakes that you shouldn't make, which later on you come to regret. I kid you not. About a week ago, somebody called and wanted us to review a judgment of divorce and a property settlement that they signed 20 years ago because they no longer think it's fair. Well, maybe it wasn't fair 20 years ago either, but they were in a rush. They wanted to get it done. They thought it would be okay. They didn't take into account what happens if this, what happens if that. It's a mistake. Sometimes you gotta spend a little bit extra time and yes, maybe a little extra money to be careful to not make the mistakes. Don't exalt the expediency of the proceeding over getting a decent, fair settlement, because the decent, fair settlement is really what you're after.
248-588-30